Hey, good morning, and thank you for joining us at today's Coffee with a Contractor. I'm Jake Sutherland with Everything Pines, and this is Mr. Marcel Goneau with Goneau Design, Build, and Development. Marcel, thanks for meeting me this morning. I really appreciate it. We're actually here at High Octane in downtown Aberdeen, a really unique coffee shop that used to be an old garage. Thank you, Nicola, for letting us use your space today. Marcel, how long have you been building in Moore County?
Well, it's probably been at least 30 years, and it's been a good, long experience, and I've enjoyed it. I've got a formal education of architecture that actually got me into the industry.
Right.
And it was just sort of a natural progression for me to go from designing houses to building them as well. So it's been a fun process.
So with your degree in architecture, you can make specific needs for clients because you're drawing their houses for them, right? You're cutting out a middleman in your processes because you do it yourself.
So yeah, whenever a client comes into my office, we actually begin that project, that design process, that whole project that day. It gives me the opportunity to get to know that client, get to develop a relationship with that client before we even begin to build the house. So that design process is very important to me. It's a relationship for me to get to know that client, how they're going to live in the house, how they're going to use the house, even their personality. Sometimes that interjects into the design of the house.
Okay.
So that whole relationship, that whole experience, we're working on a 15,000 square foot house right now. I've been with this woman for 4 years through the design, through the build. We're about to finish that one probably in the next, 3 months.
Okay.
Which has been a long process, but you might as well keep in mind it's going to be a relationship if you're going to do a design build with a client. Not all projects are 4 years long.
That's right.
The normal ones may be as quick as a year, but there's still a relationship there that you got to make sure that you can communicate with the person you're working with, from construction as well as design. So,
but you don't just do the custom homes, you're also building a lot of spec houses. I know you're doing a lot of the cottages in Legacy Lakes that are going really well for you.
Yep.
Some spec houses in downtown, Whispering Pines. I mean, you're all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I will say part of those projects, designing houses is kind of my getaway. That's kind of where I enjoy that process. I love kind of looking into the research. As everybody knows right now, that farmhouse, that modern farmhouse is what everybody's excited about these days. Those are actually really fun houses to design. They have a nice style about them. They're just a nice touch of modern without getting too contemporary. But the design process for the spec houses, while we don't have a client, they're still fun for me to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I know Marcel and I have done a couple projects with the modern farmhouse, and they've done really well, and they're great additions to the landscape here in Moore County. So if you want to learn more about Marcel Goneau and Goneau Design, Build, Development, Marcel, how can our folks get a hold of you?
Well, if you want to go to my website, of course, it's GoneauConstruction.com, and that Goneau name is probably a little bit tricky, but it's Goneau construction.com. Of course, you can always just call me. Everybody's moving around with mobile phones these days, so 910-585-0618. Happy to take a call and just reach out to us.
Great. Thanks for joining me today, Marcel, and thanks for joining both of us for our first installment of Coffee with Contractors. Stay tuned for next week.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.